What is up, guys? Welcome to the movement. My name is JP. I hope you feel highly blessed and highly favored. And I hope that luck is on your side because you've worked so damn hard that it doesn't have any choice but to be. I am obviously joined with Wilson, Cam, and O, and we are the Shepherds of Men. Really happy that all you guys tuned in today. I'm going to go through short, sweet, to the point on our little disclaimer that we have beforehand. If you get your feelings hurt really easily, you don't need to be listening to this podcast. To be honest with you, you're going to be straightforward. We're going to be in your face, and this one particularly is going to be straightforward. We're going to have fun with this episode right here. This is episode number 11, and it is not titled because we intended it to be that way. We may title it afterwards because there probably will be a trend to it, but we're not going to put a title on the front end. We're going to recap because we've done 10 episodes. We've come a long ways, and I'm really excited about what this team has done. And kind of some of the feedback that we've received from a lot of people and the growth that we've experienced, to be totally honest with you, since we started this. So super pumped about this conversation. You guys stay tuned. We're going to freestyle this one. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to have a lot of really straightforward conversations. So what I really want to do, guys, and happy to be around you guys as always. Friday is something that I really look forward to because we always get in here and we record and stuff like that. But we're going to have a lot of fun on this episode. Because I want to look back over the last 10 episodes and really the inception of Shepherds of Men.
Sure.
Because what's awesome about it is we knew that this was important, and we were really excited about what we were going to do and the impact that we were going to make because we knew that it was needed in society today. And the feedback that we've received from the men that have listened, and women as well, for that matter. But the feedback that we have received has just got me to a whole nother level, man. It's got me really, really excited because I know that we have a responsibility as men in society to make sure that things are moving in the right direction. But what I want to do is I want to freestyle this one, man. Like, sure. Let's for real. Let's just talk about what happened over the last 10 episodes and kind of what's been going on since we started Shepherds of Men. I'm talking about from the beginning to right now.
I'll say that we've gotten better at recording ourselves and talking, not talking over each other because
that ain't going to happen this episode. We're going to talk over each other a lot.
Absolutely.
Possible.
So bringing it back down to our roots. But yeah, dude, man, a lot. I mean, all the episodes, anybody who's following us and listening, and you could tell per episode, I think we get better. And then the content gets better, and we're not novices anymore. We're mastering our craft, and it's going to be so impactful in the next 20 to 1,000 episodes that we're going to be rolling out eventually. Plus all the website updates. The swag is
it's
point.
nasty, dude. It's so dirty. It's
I'm loving it.
It's
so you guys
actually pretty clean.
just don't even know.
New.
You shut your mouth.
All right.
Yeah. So it looks
okay,
good.
I won't
Shut
talk
your
no
mouth
more
when you're
then.
talking to me.
You hurt my feelings.
So I think it's gone from a text message to where we're at today. If you would ask me 10 years ago, before this was even a thought that this was going to be happening, or I was going to be on a podcast, I'd have been like, "You shitting yourself, man!" This is like, no,
Dude, it's so freaking cool.
It is
it's
cool.
so cool, man.
It is neat.
I really didn't like
cool
it at first because I was like, I'm going to listen to myself talk. No, but then now that we've seen the impact, that's what makes it great is when someone shares how much this is truly helping them. It gets us fired up more to go, okay, cool, let's go to the next level. Let's get some more stuff out there that can further you as a listener to take your life to the next level. I mean, you got a promotion just recently because of a lot of this.
Really, it is because of this.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about just the accountability text I reached out to you guys with and the growth we've gone through together, individually together, I guess. Just holding that personal accountability of being able to be on the podcast and having things to say, but only because you have grown to say them. You can't just take some average Joe off the street and go, you could ask him basic questions, but he's not going to be able to keep up, know. So it's kind of neat, the challenge to be able to keep up and earn that seat at the table, like we've talked about in some of the conversations we've had off the air. But I think it'd be cool to hear, meeting people in the wild, we'll call it. When we are more established, like hearing what happened when they were like, dude, these guys just sending each other an accountability text one day, and then boom, they created a movement. I think it'd be cool to hear some other things that came out of that, like after, maybe inspiring people to send their own accountability text to their friends and something coming out of that. I think that'd be cool to hear how we've sparked other people's movements that they've wanted to do. I think it'd be cool, man. But it's been an interesting journey, man. Taking it from an idea and then putting it into action, and then now we've got the brand solidified with gear and swag, like dirty swag, like JP's calling it. Mine's
Nasty.
clean. I mean,
Nasty.
yeah.
Dude, it really is.
It's sick. It is the dopest of fresh.
Hey,
The dopest of fresh.
It's dope fresh. No, but it's it's awesome though, man. Like, it's cool seeing it evolve and the website evolving, and shepherdsof.men, just in case you're wondering. The website is awesome. Like, and it
Hashtag just saying.
and we've got, by the time this episode comes out, I mean, we'll have the or at least will it be in the works for sure, being able to order stuff from the site if you don't have stuff at home.
And here's the cool thing about that, so people don't get it twisted, is the margin that's there for that allows us to have resources to go out and then increase the size of the impact, increase the platform. I mean, like just so everybody's clear, we're all doing this for free. Like, we're all in here giving of ourselves and serving, pouring into ourselves too on the front end, because we believe in what we're doing. I mean, like, that's honestly, like, we're fired up out of our minds. I'm more fired up tonight than I was the day that we started talking about this.
Yeah.
Because we're starting to see that ripple effect of what's actually happening, and we believe in it. We believe how important it is. We know how important it is. And I mean, yes, we love getting together. I mean, we're boys, and this is fun. But it's more fun when we get together and we say, dude, listen to what happened this week. Listen to this conversation I had. Listen to this person that, JP, you were talking about, the guy that's like ordering books because he listened to the podcast. And you made this comment. He was like, if that one dude reads those 5 books and that's all we get out of all the effort we've put into this podcast, then it's worth it.
Dude,
and
absolutely.
100% it is.
Yeah.
Right? So us having the swag, man, is, for one, I mean, come on, dude, it looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks fucking good. If you get some, you'll be glad you got it. But then it gives us these resources to go out and have a bigger impact. I mean,
it's not cheap swag either. It's legit.
No,
Yeah,
it's
like nice quality stuff. Yeah.
I love it.
But I mean, and then it creates more awareness and more billboards. So I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, of all the people that I've talked to about feedback and stuff like that, they've been like, dude, this is great. Like, more men need to hear this. Like, this is good stuff. And that's not a self-edifying statement. That's a matter of what's been poured into us.
Yeah.
All 4 of us are very fortunate to have had men in our lives that excelled to a certain level of not just success in business, but integrity,
right?
And stuff like that. So we owe it back. And that's the whole reason that we started this podcast, is to say, you know what? There's a lot of stuff that's been poured into us, and we've talked about this before. It was one of those things where we took it for granted. We were kind of like, you work so hard on growing yourself. You believe that everybody else is at the same level. You start to believe, like when we were talking about other people suffering is your new norm. Well, when you start to talk to people and people go, holy shit, I've never thought of that. And then you go, well, you haven't?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
You
because,
haven't?
and then you think about us, for years we've been personally developing and putting good in and all that kind of stuff. And I heard somebody say this one time years ago, you remember to think like a new person. And that's the truest statement ever, is because the things that are like daily things for us are light bulbs for others. Like one little comment. I was having a conversation with a guy yesterday that my wife and I met him and his wife when we were out and about, kids playing at the park, and we started talking about the movement. We started talking about the podcast, the Project Shepherds of Men as a whole. And he reached out to me, and then we ended up having some coffee together, and it was a fantastic conversation. But there were some things we were talking about in that conversation that are like normal daily thoughts for me, but they weren't 10 years ago, and they weren't for him right now. And so remembering that it's not like, don't get comfortable with the stuff that you just think about all the time and think somebody else doesn't need to hear it. Like, I promise you, as we go through the next 10 and the next 100, next 1,000 episodes of this, we're going to say some of the same shit over and over and over again, and somebody's still going to hear it for the first time.
Yep.
That's right.
Absolutely. From a different perspective.
It ain't that much, honestly.
No.
Like, there ain't that many things to talk about. Like, don't be a pussy. Stand up. Man up, work hard, have some work ethic, have some mental toughness,
Respect
have the right mindset, set the example, stand in the gap, all these things we've been talking about. Be positive, have a positive expectation. Like, there's a handful of things you need to get good at, and then you just need to continue to get better and better and better.
You just go through and scroll through, and once you get to this episode, all the previous episodes, just their titles. That should tell you enough. That really should. And the cool thing is that as you progress in this, and with us, as we grow together, your perspective is going to change. You go back and listen to a couple of these podcasts, and you go, "Man, I didn't hear this. I didn't see that. Whatnot." Yeah, it's really cool. And also to have Danny here because he doesn't get any limelight at all.
Awesome.
Oz is who we like to call him. Helping us, making us sound good and getting everything clean and crisp. And the time he spends in that is definitely appreciated. So definitely want to put a plug in there for him. But I mean, everything coming together, even from the inception to where we were just getting the recording and the person who could help us produce it, all that kind of stuff was just thin threads. Like, it was just wild how we made a decision and then everything started coming together. It was really cool. If y'all have anything to say on that, go ahead.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Like, the way that this came together was, 100% meant to be. And some of that has to do with hard work, dedication, preparation, and all of a sudden the opportunities, the luck shows up because the opportunity meets all the preparation. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I believe that we tend to want to look at each other and go, man, isn't it crazy how this all came together? But our preparation and the way that we constantly are just relentless about our growth, I think creates opportunities like that. It doesn't create opportunities. It opens doors for opportunity to present itself. But please understand, like, what we're doing is going to change some things. There's some things in our society today that we do not agree with at this table. And we understand that as leaders and as the people to move forward, you put your head above the weeds, you're going to get, arrows shot at you. You're going to get some, and we're perfectly fine with that. That is the reason that I'm sitting at the table with the men that I'm sitting at, because these guys can take arrows. These guys can take some shots and keep moving forward and not care.
The arrows will block out the sun, then we'll fight in the shade.
We'll fight in the shade. You damn right.
One of my favorite quotes.
But to be honest with you, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in society today that's super petty, that's really stupid, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And everybody's entitled. We just talked about respect. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion on stuff. But we will change some things in society today. There are some things that are non-negotiables that just don't make sense, that we don't agree with whatsoever, like being disrespectful, like being a shithead. Stuff, things of that nature. If your opinion is you would rather have steak than chicken, then that's fine. Whatever. Your opinion.
Right.
No big deal. But there are certain things that we won't waver on. Like, we love our country. We will always love our country. And we will always stand up for our country. So you can have your opinion however you want it. And if you don't like the country, then you can get the fuck
There's
out.
a lot of other ones.
Call me or email us or whatnot. I'll buy a ticket for you personally to whatever country you want, one way.
We should start a "You're allowed to leave" fund.
Oh my gosh, that would be
That'd
great.
be
That's a good
fantastic.
idea.
Right under the join button is
Yes.
the GoFundMe or the Go F you.
Yeah.
Like, and this is I don't agree with what you're saying or what this country's founded on.
Yep.
Fantastic. Put $5 right here. It'll build up. People will grow on it, and then you have a ticket to go wherever
There's
you
a
want.
lot of
There's a lot of
land.
other communist countries you can go to.
There's a lot of
Get
land.
out.
A lot of land.
Yeah,
a lot of land.
a lot of
Africa's
land.
a good place. Warm, but it's it's roomy. Roomy.
Parts, yeah. Canada, Northern Canada.
Northern-
I found out nobody lives up there.
Nobody.
Right.
Hey. Nobody.
But that's what I love about this, though. And we're not going to apologize for our opinion. We've said it several times before. We're not going to. And I think Odenhill said this better than most, is you don't have to agree with what we say, but you should be mature enough to listen and be able to say, well, I don't agree with that, and then put your point out there.
Yep.
Like, we are 100% okay with debating. And I had a guy tell me the other day, and I know you got some on your mind. I had somebody tell me the other day that, and he is a stand-up kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that I would consider a gentleman and stuff like that. And he looked at me almost defeated, because I think the gentlemen of today's world and the men of today's world feel somewhat defeated, like they're alone. Kind of thing. And he said, man, the days of debating and having genuine debates are gone.
It's all slander and attacking. And,
But
Name calling.
There's
I
no
looked at him and I said,
conversation.
Dude, I said, yes, it is going by the wayside, but it's not going.
It's not going.
And it won't be gone because the true men in this world will stand up and they'll recover that. It's going to come back, and that's why we're here.
Yep.
A journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. This step is creating a following where a bunch of men can stand up and go, you know what? There are certain qualities of a man that should be non-negotiables, and that's what we're going to follow.
I believe. I have something to say unless you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just to touch on what you said about other people's opinions and all that stuff. It's the quote that and this is original. It just kind of hit me one day. It was, you can tolerate other people's opinions without accepting them as your own. That's mental maturity.
Love it.
You know,
Yep.
you don't have to. I don't know. I think that's. I don't have to elaborate on that. It's pretty self-explanatory.
You can even love somebody. Like I there's people in my family that I love, that I genuinely love, that we don't see eye to eye on this stuff. And that's a mature thing.
Yeah. Same here.
Like, I don't love you because of your opinion. I love you because of who you are.
Yeah.
You know,
you're still human. Like, you're allowed
Yeah.
to think that way. It's okay.
Yeah.
We can sit at the same table and eat.
right?
You know?
Should still have some mutual respect,
Right.
you know, and I hate the fact that people just, you know, just because you don't agree to them, they're just gonna. I come from a family background that if you didn't agree with one other, dude, you're yelling at each other till you're red and trying to get your point across, and ultimately it comes down to just like, okay, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree, and it's usually somebody else coming in to break us up.
It just shows weakness, you know, and it's actually a tactic that's used to divide crowds and make them easier to conquer.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
Mouthful.
And how most people are not intelligent enough to see that.
Yep.
That they're the whole goal and stuff like that is to divide.
I heard Morgan Freeman talk about the race issue. And we won't get deep into this, but
Sure, go ahead.
one time he was asked about that, and he's like, you know what would really help that whole conversation? If people just stop talking about it.
Amen.
Like, if you-
He's so good at delivering that message.
He is. Have you seen that? Like, I can't remember that, but he's talking, and he's like, if you just stop talking about it, it'll go away.
He said, he looked at him, he said, the guy that was interviewing was Jewish. He said, you want a Jewish history month? Do you have a Jewish history month?
Yeah.
The guy said, well, no. And he said, do you want one? He was like, no. He was like, well, I don't want a Black History Month.
Yeah.
We're all Americans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, we should all sit at the same table and all be Americans.
Right.
There was a dark time. But even
For sure.
before that, there was a darker
But let it
time
go,
before
man.
that.
Yeah.
You got
So true.
we gotta be together. But that's where the politics and the lawyers and stuff like that come in that really muddy the waters on stuff, because that's how they get their votes. They pit people against people, and they're like, oh, you don't want to go over there because they're racist, or you don't want to go over there because they're capitalist and they're greedy, or you don't want to do that because of that. You know, like my biggest aggravation with that is people, man, if you were listening in on this, if you don't learn anything else, have a mind of your own.
Yeah.
Oh
For
my God,
God's
please.
sakes, have a mind of your
He
own.
gave you one?
You don't have to
yourself.
be one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
You can agree with both sides. There's things, especially when we're talking about politics and stuff like that. There's stuff that's said on one side that I'm like, I agree with that. Now I might 80% agree with the other side because that's just my belief. Some whatever. But you don't have to go. I'm here or there. Like it's
Right.
It's not cold or hot. It can be.
And
one.
secondly, have balls enough to do that. Like be man enough to say, I'm not in that category or this category.
Sure.
This is what I believe.
And
and
vote.
and
Oh my God.
for God's sake,
Please
vote.
vote.
And that takes us to a point where we're talking
Yeah.
about like earlier. Like there's some people that are doing some really great things out there. And I think there's a lot of organizations and a lot of things that are promoting themselves that are probably doing less good than what it looks like they're doing. But it's trendy to be on social media and to look like you're having an impact, and it's cool to do that.
Yep.
Right. But then when you get to the core of the conversation of the leadership of that organization, that's where you want to start. Like, not just what does the website look like and what is this, whatever, but like what is the person that started? Like who are the people? Like are they being held accountable? I gotta be honest with you, man. If you're having political issues and you're not voting, like you just don't get it. You just don't get it.
We'll say something on that. If you have issues, just look up the political platform. Like literally look up Google political platforms, Republican, Democrat, and then vote for what you believe in the most.
Yeah.
That's as simple as you can make the decision. And then vote for the best person that you listen to or hear, and don't go by popular opinion. I don't watch all the debates because it's just I hate negative, and
I don't
all
watch
it
any
is
of
is
that garbage, man.
slandering
It's
and
all
another bunch
ridiculous.
of junk. So
Reality
I
TV.
literally go and look up the person I'm looking at and see what they're all
What
about.
does he
on their
believe? How
website.
does he
What they
vote?
believe.
Where
Yeah.
does he invest his time and his money?
How
Exactly.
has he voted?
Yeah.
Right. How has he
Where's that
voted
in the past? Right.
Mhm.
So, and it really shouldn't, man. Like you guys said, it shouldn't matter what color tie they're wearing. It should matter where their beliefs line up with yours and where their beliefs have lined up in the past. You can see someone has been bought, and everyone grows and everyone changes their mind. I get it. But you can see where they start to change and flip-flop by how they voted in the past versus how they're voting, not so much in the past, and how they're voting now all of a sudden. Were they bought, or did they really grow?
Well, it goes back to just getting educated, right? I mean, you got to be educated. What's easier to control, a mass of ignorant people or a mass of highly educated people? I mean, if you were in power, you would want a bunch of ignorant people because they're easy to herd.
For sure.
Right.
I mean, how hard is it to herd sheep? They're a bunch of stupid animals that you can just move around where you need them. It's the exact same thing with society. And for some odd reason, people just don't understand that. And I'll go back to, and this is going to be highly controversial, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Right with that.
Donald Trump. This thing like drives me. If this was done to anybody else, what's been done to him since he's been in office,
Oh my gosh.
it would be an absolute outrage. It would be an absolute outrage. Nobody has ever been under the type of scrutiny that guy has been since he walked in the door. And the fact of the matter is, he's about the only one that has kept everything he said. He's done everything in his power to keep his word from his inauguration and everything that he said. What he ran on is what he's pushing now, and it hasn't changed, and it threatens a lot of this I don't want to swamp, whatever you want to call it. Now there's stuff that he does that I don't agree with, so don't get me wrong. I'm not a blindless follower of any kind of Donald Trump stuff. I do give the guy credit for standing up for what he said he was going to do. And you want to talk about, like we talked about, or I said earlier on in this episode, you're going to get darts shot at you if you stick your head above the weeds. Like you're just going to get arrows shot at you. But sometimes somebody has to stand up.
Yep.
And we were getting to the point where somebody had to stand up. And
he's been you look at interviews 30, 40 years ago, they were asking him if he would run for president. And he literally said, I don't want to.
If it got bad enough.
But he said, if it gets bad enough, I will.
Right. And
right?
he said he
and
would
it
win.
finally got bad enough, right?
And he did. And
But they
won.
loved him back then.
Oh,
the
yeah.
media loved him. Isn't
Yeah.
that some
Hey,
horse shit?
So on that note, don't always believe what the media says, dude.
Or anything
do
they say.
your own
Ever.
fact checking and do your own research
either
and go
side,
to the
any
source
channel.
on any channel. Don't listen to the media.
Wait, I asked you this question last episode. I got to ask it to you.
Go for it.
Which one's easier?
Obviously, listening what
To
the
sit on your
frickin-
couch and watch
Yeah,
TV,
watch
the
TV
news
and the news.
and listen to everything they want you to think, or to go do your research?
As soon as you realize the news channels are just selling news,
Right.
Then
That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
And guess what they're selling the most? Negative, because negative sales,
Negative
and you're
sales.
eating it up
And
because
I-
you
or
want
ad
drama
space.
in your
And
life.
I don't care what side you sit on. If all you watch is Fox News and you take everything they say as gospel, you suck just as bad as somebody that watches nothing but CNN.
and I want to
Exactly.
pause on that because there's a lot of people that will listen to this right now, and all they're going to hear, they stopped listening when you said the name Donald Trump.
Right.
And they immediately just were like, I disagree with everything else you're going to say to this point.
Yep.
And that's where you're missing it.
Yep.
Because we don't disagree with everything else you're saying.
Right.
We don't disagree with everything that I probably disagree with most things that every news channel says.
Right, yes.
Oh, yeah,
in
for
general.
Most cases.
But like in an intelligent one-on-one conversation, I don't disagree with every single thing, right? And some of the points that somebody might bring to the table about Trump or about other people, I would probably agree with them. But on the whole, you're right. I mean, he's done whatever he can to stay accountable. The thing I love about him, and I don't want to make this episode all about politics for sure. We probably want to move on.
we got plenty. Yeah.
We got plenty of stuff to talk about. But I will say this in my closing on this portion of it is that the thing I most appreciate about him is that he's not a politician. That's
Oh my
the
gosh.
biggest
Not
thing
at
I
all.
appreciate about him.
And he sucks at being
And he's
one.
a
He
business.
sucks at being one. He's an awful politician.
really does.
And he's the fucking president.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
He does not need to be on Twitter or any other social media.
I don't know. It's pretty
platform.
entertaining. I mean,
But it's awesome.
Entertaining.
No, he said
Stop watching the news and get on Twitter.
But hey, he lines up with what we believe in because we're being true to ourselves and we're not sugarcoating anything. And he's the same way. Like,
At the
he doesn't-
basis, for sure. Yeah.
he
if he's going to go down, he's going to go
He's
down in
going down.
flames. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
That's right. That's right.
So
sure.
I can commend that for him.
So what else do we want to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about some other stuff.
So another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about. I think that's cool. I think that's one of those taboo things that people tend to not want to talk about that I have zero problem talking about because there's nothing about that I want to hide. So I really appreciate you guys giving your opinions on that stuff and ultimately
I'm not trying to be weak on changing the subject.
no. I
just
think it's great. No, and there's more to talk about.
Trying
Politics.
to retain listeners.
Politics are one of those things. If you take anything away from that, we'll recap. Go get educated.
Please.
Vote. Vote.
Yes.
Even if you
Vote.
disagree with us, vote.
If you disagree with us and you think that everything that we say is bullshit, vote in the opposite direction. Vote.
Hey, and on that note, if you don't vote, you have no right to bitch.
Shut the hell up.
Shut the
That's
hell
right.
up about
Yep.
what
Yep.
you have.
100%
We
agree.
don't care about your opinions. If you did not vote,
Or
you
run
have
for
no
office.
say-so.
One of the two.
Yeah, run for office.
Seriously.
Yeah, run for
Seriously.
office. If you're that fed up, go after it.
Get educated, vote, and don't be a sheep. Do not be a sheep. Have a mind of your own. Okay, so the next part of it that I'd really like to talk to is some of the experiences. Okay, and I'll kick this off just to kind of get at what I was talking about. So one of the things that I was really passionate about whenever we decided to start this is the fact that as men, we need to hold other men accountable, right? And it doesn't mean you have to be a dickhead. It means you have to hold other men accountable. So I'm at the airport yesterday, and this is just the most recent thing.
Really good, dude.
Yeah. So this is the most recent thing that happened to me. So I'm standing at the gate, and I'm up in Canada, standing at my gate, ready to get on the plane. And I don't know, I had about 20 minutes or so. And I see this guy kind of just, you could tell he's flustered. Well, his wife comes walking down the terminal, coming from one of the shops or bathroom or something like that. Well, this guy, I can tell he's flustered. Something was about to happen. So he walks over to her. There's hell, I don't know how many people were standing around there. And he proceeds to chew his wife out right there in front of everybody. I'm talking about yelling, like disregarding the fact that anybody else was there. Just being really, really shitty.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is disrespectful.
Yeah. But just chewing her ass out and stuff. So I'm sitting there waiting to get on the plane, and this guy walks over, and I don't know if he's trying to be a hard ass or it just cool guy or whatever it was, but he screwed up, and he came over by me, and there's another guy sitting next to me, and he looks at me and goes, "Oh gosh, you just aggravates the shit out of me." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, I looked at him, I said, "Yeah, it's embarrassing." He was like, "Oh no." I said, "For you."
No, the way you acted.
Oh, I told him, I said,
like a child.
That's what I told him. I said, "That's embarrassing." And he went to agree with me. Like almost what she did was wrong. And I said, "For you, you look like a damn fool sitting up there in front of everybody chewing your wife out like that." This guy looked at me like he didn't say anything else, but he looked at me because nobody has ever done that to him. I'm sure this has happened before. And nobody's ever done that to him. Everybody's always just kind of sat back and looked at himself. Now, would I have done that any other time? I don't know. But my responsibility to this table made me go, you know what? Mm-hmm. I'm about to say something to this dude. And he messed up and walked to me. and I told him, I said, "You look like a damn fool." It was the last thing I said to him. He kind of looked at me like shocked. But
here's my card.
The biggest thing, yeah. But the biggest thing about it is, if all I did was put a little seed in his heart, where the next time he decides to go chew his wife out, he grabs her by the arm and pulls her to the side and goes, "I don't appreciate what you did," even if it was her fault. He pulls her to the side out of respect for his wife and himself, and then proceeds to talk to her off to the side in front, because she doesn't need an audience there.
Yeah.
He can handle his stuff outside of it. If all that happens is the next time he thinks about that, then that was a win. But that's what I want to talk about.
Well,
some situations that's happened with you guys since we started.
Well, no, that's the whole point of this, right? Okay. Is those little things where you start, and I will agree with you 100%. Like since we've been sitting at this table together, and I've been fortunate to have a level of accountability in my life for over a decade now that most people don't have. You know, some people wouldn't want it. Honestly, most people wouldn't want it. But this is even another level past that, which is even more intimate. And it takes you in those moments to go, listen, dude, you got to practice what you preach, right? I mean, if we believe in what we're doing, which we do 100%, if anybody doubts that, I'll give you my cell phone number. I mean, you really got to be the man that we're encouraging other people to be, you know? And I think that, I know that conversation will be another conversation, You just told the story here. That guy probably tell the story to somebody who will tell it to somebody else. And it's that whole ripple effect. It really is, over and over and over again, which is why it's so important. You know, some people would take this environment and this platform and it would just be, we're just talking. We're just blowing smoke, right? But the right people can take this environment and have a message, you know? And the message for us always is, on almost every episode, and I say this even offline or off the air or whatever, is we don't have it all figured out. I had a meeting with a guy yesterday that wanted to meet with me because he had heard about Shepherds of Men. He knew what we were doing. He was having, in his words, having a drought in his marriage and his spiritual life, and he just wanted to have somebody to talk to. Like he didn't have anybody else to talk to. I didn't even know the dude. And the first thing I told him was like, listen, one thing you got to understand is I don't have all the answers. Like, that's not why we're here. We're not here because we got it all figured out. We're here because we understand what it's like to not have it all figured out, and we also understand what it's like to have some accountability and be growing as a man every day. And what do you need to do that? So, and then being ballsy enough to go, because I think the reading, the listening, the associating, all this kind of stuff will grow you. But I also think that taking that action, because that's something right there, it convicts the hell out of you if you just tell a dude that you were wrong. Right?
I felt like it was my responsibility at that point in time to do that.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
And I one of my a mentor in my life for years that you all know that I respect like crazy. One of the things he's always taught me is call people out on stuff. Don't let his way of saying don't let people get away with dumb stuff.
And my goal with that, don't misunderstand what I said. My goal was not to be a marriage counselor and teach him how to be in a good relationship. I had zero desire to do that. No. I was calling him out as a man from a man on how he needed to conduct himself.
Right.
Because I'm not the man, like you said, and I'm glad you said that. We are not here because we have all the answers.
Heck no.
But we know what wrong is.
Right.
And I'll call you out on it.
And we're okay with identifying wrong.
Yeah, and I'll call it out
That's
with
the
you
difference.
guys just as I would with him.
And we would expect you to.
Well, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, and the biggest thing on that is too, man. I'm glad you did call him out on that, and that's probably why he was sent in your direction.
Yes.
Right? I think that was done on purpose by higher power, maybe, but
that was a test, and you passed
for sure, man. Definitely earned the SOM that day. So, but
like that.
But the big thing is
New hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag earn SOM.
Earn some.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it. Yeah,
damn, that's sexy.
That is good. Yeah,
go ahead and start trending that shit.
But I think what was most important there is that the guy didn't even give a shit if there were kids, girls, got other boys around that obviously would have heard that if he was yelling and think that's okay. You know, that's the biggest thing there.
Not even he didn't care. He just didn't. It didn't register.
No, it was all about him and
That's exactly
humiliating his wife in that scene.
It was trying to
demand
the respect. Yeah. Sorry, not establish, but demand the respect. That's what he was doing.
Yeah. I probably wasn't doing shit at home to earn it. So
absolutely not.
That's what blows me away. So that's what's cool, man. It's a shame you couldn't humiliate him the way he did. I mean, it's not your job. I get it, but it's a shame that you weren't like that. Didn't work that way. So that the kids and you know what I'm saying, like. So that the boys and the girls who may have saw that know that it's not okay.
So the funny thing about it is when I told him that he was a damn fool, there's something that registered. When you were literally face to face with another man, this guy was a little bit bigger than me. I mean, he's soggy, but he was a little bigger than me.
Well said.
He was a little bit bigger than me, but he
I like that.
But he was looking at me.
He was more like 80-20, not 90-10.
Yeah, that's right. It was one of those things where it was like, yeah, that was embarrassing for you. And at that point in time, we had locked eyes because like it was a stunned kind of situation. And I looked at him. I said, "You look like a damn fool." And he looked at me, and I was like, "There's one of two things that are about to happen.
I'm gonna get hit.
Yep, you're either gonna do something really stupid, or you're gonna walk away.
You're gonna show your true colors.
Yeah, you're gonna do something really stupid, or you're gonna walk away." And at that point in time, he decided that he didn't want to say nothing. He walked away.
I've done enough dumb stuff today. I'm not going to punch that guy.
He walked away. But to your point, you know, there was a part of me that was like, I'm about to show you in front of everybody in this airport. You know, and not that I'm a bad motherfucker or anything like that. I'm not trying to claim that I am, but I'm saying like it would have been one of those situations where you handle your business.
Although in that new SOM swag shirt you got on,
looks nice.
You look like a bad motherfucker.
He would have got some.
He would have got some. Ooh, hashtag got some.
Hashtag got some. Yeah. But so you guys, like that's what, just one situation, and I know we've had hundreds of them since we've started. But is there anything that comes to the forefront of y'all's mind, like a specific situation, a story that we could tell that has to do with?
Well, I have a couple, but I mean, out of like what you're saying, confrontation. I'm not in the public as much as I used to be.
It doesn't have to be confrontation.
But even though, I mean, we talked about this on the last episode, just kind of why it spurred on respect. But I've had two encounters with people that, one in particular was kind of random, and I shared the link with this individual, and she had to call me and say that I was misconducting myself as a Christian. And I'll say this right now: I
think her exact quote was, "You're a piece of shit."
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that what she
there
said?
that was a different one. That was a different
Oh, sorry.
No, he
That's
gets
the
called
I'm
out
still
a lot.
thinking about that
That's
one,
the
man.
second one. But the first one
Poor
was a phone
kid gets
call.
called a lot. Nobody
So,
says anything
yeah.
to me. They're like, we expect you to be, pretty
I'm okay
straightforward.
with I'm okay with it because I wouldn't be okay with this 10 years ago because I would be that kind of person that says, I just want to make you happy and I want to make everybody okay and I want you to like me and I want this and that and
Crowd pleaser.
yeah, crowd pleaser,
Dude,
Mr.
there's
Yes
so
Man.
much to that.
Yeah.
Like, there really is.
And that's where, okay, as a Christian, yes, there is a fine line that you have to play in that regard. If you call yourself a Christian, that you do have to conduct yourself a little differently because you are representing a lot bigger thing than just you as an individual. But at the same time, you can't just go and cower and not stand up for how you conducted yourself. And if you don't feel like you conducted yourself improperly because this person's faith level is not where you're at, then it's not your responsibility to get to their level by decreasing your faith.
So what happened?
So in this regard, they said that because I said pussy, the only one word, it offended this individual and said that I wasn't Christian.
You're getting
and,
another message.
and I was getting messages. No, that was on the
You about to
very
get some
first
emails.
podcast, the very first episode. That
Oh,
was the
I
first
remember that
one.
one.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
on my tagline.
So yeah,
Started
so-
tagline.
I'm still a little bitter about it myself. I just haven't hit you on social
just
media.
Did you
sounds
send him a
so
message?
good.
You
Gonna.
haven't sent him a message?
Gonna.
You're going to. Now that you're reminded of
I'm
it.
Send me a
mentally
message.
mature, so I'm letting it simmer a little bit.
so the fact of the matter is, just quite simply, is some people's faith is not as strong as you listen to. Paul talks about get off the milk, get on the meat, and a cuss word or a word is going to cause you to fall and fail as a Christian. You're way missing it. You need to grow up because you give, like we talked about in multiple podcasts, is you give power to the words that you give. So if you're going to get offended by somebody saying pussy and not directing it at you, then that's not a bad thing. In my personal opinion, and I know I'm factually right, that if you call someone a pussy, you're cussing them or cursing them in a sense in the Bible terms, then that is wrong. But if you just say, don't be a pussy, that is not wrong, in my opinion.
There's a lot
Now-
of people that thought you were Jesus.
Oh my God. And then that was the last one.
Yeah.
I apparently walked on water and hung the moon for somebody. At
It was
one
because
point
you
in their
couldn't
life.
swim, though.
But because I told them that you should spank your child when they need it, I got a hate message back on a social media platform that this person decided to say one message and then leave it at that and not have the backbone to finalize this message or debate about this message because whatever she read offended her. I'm not really worried about it because I know who I am as a man and as a person, and I'm not losing sleep over it. But
Did she
the
even
fact
have
of the
kids?
matter, how you handle yourself in the situation. What'd you say?
Did she even have kids?
I don't know if she has kids yet. But I
That
thought,
matters.
yeah, I think it might have been a little bit more behind the scenes. That's why I included
Yeah, right.
the family.
It does kind of matter.
Yeah.
I'd like to just say I appreciate her listening.
Oh, I
Yeah.
do.
Oh, I
really do, and I hope
don't
she's
know.
Thanks for the
listening to this
thanks for the follow.
Honestly, I don't think she's listening. I think she just saw that. I thought it was just a random post about
All these flavors
making
out
America
here, and you
great
decide
again.
to be salty.
Yeah, salty.
Your wife's
I love that.
Your
That was
wife's
so
post
good.
is so great. A little salty much.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
That's
So-
what she did on that post. Salty much.
All right, so now some people probably been abused as a kid, okay, and I could say I was borderline in that regard whenever.
I took a picture last night. Someone was just talking shit to me. So I said, "Hey, dude, you won't believe this. I was sitting here with everyone who gives a shit."
That's awesome.
So I know you guys
Exactly.
can't see
Next
that.
time.
So, yeah. So basically,
Literally sitting on an empty section.
yeah. It's
is
a picture of me, and I'm pointing to an empty space next to me, an empty table behind me. No one's there. Hey, I just ran into everyone who gives a shit.
Exactly.
That's
Slow clap.
beautiful. That's
Good
beautiful.
God.
But yeah, the point is you should stand up for what you believe and not let somebody mess you up in that sense. And if you look at the post of what I posted back to that individual, it's very clear that we took the high ground, and I think that as a man,
I think getting their parents involved was a high ground. Yep.
That was about the wrong post.
that was on purpose.
No, I'm not.
Oh, we're talking about the other one now?
Yeah, we're talking
Sorry
about
about
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I included that one.
I digress.
The other one was on the phone call, so I couldn't really include.
Aaron does that to me all the time. I'm going to tell my mommy on you.
Your mommy's my wife.
Yeah, I'm like, you can't do that.
And I
king
demand
of this
respect from my
castle.
wife.
Right,
You do understand I'm higher on the pecking order than you.
It's
We
biblical.
can make another one of you.
Right, yeah.
right.
You're expendable. That's right.
This is Sparta.
So great.
That's
Kick it.
awesome.
You're lucky you're only here for 17 more years.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
The clock's ticking, little man.
So
I
but
don't
take the high ground. That's all. That's
no,
all the message on that one is.
And I agree with that.
Everybody who's doing something important in their life is going to get hit by something. So don't level or go down to their level and slander back to them.
Dude, I got to
Take
be
the
honest
high
with you. I'm proud of you because for years, we've been in business together for a long time. And for years, this is not a shot at you. It's just your natural personality. It was, you got to be stronger. You got to be bolder. You got to quit trying to please everybody. Right. And like, if you're not tipping the needle a little bit, if you're not getting a little friction back or a little whatever, you need to ratchet it up a notch. And there was times where you'd be like, you thought you were being bold and strong. And I'm like, dude, you're whispering. Like, not from a volume level, but just from like what's in there, let it out. Right. Like, don't be ashamed of what's inside. It's going to rub some people the wrong way. It just will. Like, every single person, if they let out what's in their heart, it's going to rub some other person the wrong way. It's okay. It's all right. And if everybody would just put on the big boy pants, it'd be fine.
Well, let's be honest. We would be a lot better off in life if we were brutally honest rather than being like political politeness.
Oh,
like the people have lost more by listening to a political polite comment than they have by somebody being brutally honest with them.
100%.
You lose a lot more in the long run.
I would say I might have been that way, but I've always encouraged or loved someone just slapping you, man. Like,
No. I know. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't. That's not a degrading statement towards you.
good.
That's just like, one of the things I admire about you as a person a lot is how much you care for people and that whole deal. Like, how you see good more than most people do.
What's
right?
really good about Wilson is how much he cares about people, but how well he lets things roll off his back.
100%.
And normally those are two traits that are really hard to separate. When you really care about people, you tend to let people bother you
Hurt
a lot.
you. Yep.
And he cares just deeply about human beings in general. And he is still
And yet his short-term memory is so bad.
Like, he is, man, like, he gets his feelings hurt by somebody, and you throw a tennis ball, and it is gone from his mind.
A black SOM tennis ball, I might add.
A black SOM tennis ball.
Those would be legit.
Those will be on the website soon.
Yeah, we're gonna bring this up.
So it's really easy to get into some situations where it was a negative situation. You had to handle it. That's important as a man. That's how you're going to do. But what about some positive stuff, man? Let's throw some growth, some positive things out there that you guys have experienced as we come in, like some stories, man, some good stuff that's happened. I know we've got a ton of stuff because we talk about it away from the microphones, and I wanted to take a chance to talk about it in front of the microphones.
Well, I'll tell you one, and I got this from you, JP, actually, is my 4-year-old, Owen, or as my 1-year-old Cash calls him, Owen.
He's on.
He's home. I don't know if he's country or just hadn't figured out how to talk yet.
Is he on some?
They're all on something. He was so downstairs is their playroom, right? It can be chaos down there, as you guys know, with kids.
Oh yeah.
It is their domain. Sometimes we just let it rip. Bullshit, it's clean. I've been to your kid's playroom. My kid's been to your kid's playroom, and he destroyed it. So,
and he knows exactly where it's at. The room would be tore apart, and Owen will walk in there and be like, Iron Man's right over there.
Yeah, my kid's OCD.
Know that? Like, I didn't even know there was carpet in this room.
And that's the difference between your personalities.
Yeah, that's right.
JP's like, I live here. I didn't even know there was walls. And Owen's like, well, I can tell you where everything in here
exactly,
is.
Yep.
And I'm only here every other 2 weeks. But my point of that is we were about to go somewhere, and we've got it for a little while. In just to be totally transparent, we were kind of letting it go. Like, they go down there and play, and y'all have all been down there in that area, and before we turn it into a playroom, and they just destroy it and they do their thing or whatever, and then we go back. And it's like every day they're down there, so it's like you get into this kind of thing about, like, does it really matter if we clean it up? But then you're like, as we've been doing this, I'm like, it does matter if you clean it up. Like, as soon as you get done, you need to clean it up. It's showing respect for your mother, and it's showing respect for your father, and for your stuff, that you're appreciative that you have nice things, and all this different stuff. And so now we're very regimented on that. Like, as soon as you get done playing, we clean it up. So next time you come back down here, it's brand new again. If you have a friend come over, it's brand new again. And so we were going somewhere. I said, oh, and you got to clean up before we go. You got to pick up the Hot Wheels and do all this kind of stuff. And it was a decent little chore. And so I went upstairs, and it was about a minute and a half later. He came to the bottom of the stairs. He's like, Dad, it's all clean. It's good. I'm like, I'm thinking it internally. I doubt it. I mean, that's pretty impressive, but I doubt it. And so I was like, so I looked down the stairs, and I was thinking about something, you talk about a lot, is putting your name on stuff. And I flat down, I looked at him. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure it's clean? Like, if I come down there would you be proud of what I see? And he kind of looks at me, and he's smart, man. Like he gets what I'm saying. And then I was like, and then I thought about what you said, and I was like, oh, and seriously, like if I come down there, would you put your name on what you just told me you did? And he's quiet, and he goes, he kind of looks at me. I was like, do you feel like you probably need to go back? And he was like, yeah. And he goes back, and cool. And it's, you know, whatever, 5-10 minutes later, he comes back. He's like, Dada, I'm ready now. And then I go down there, dude, the place is spotless.
How many connections did that kid make in his mind in that 10-second conversation you had where he had to think about that? Like, because you made him think.
Yep.
And that was more important than anything. Because it's easy to go tie your kid's shoes for them, or to throw the cars in the thing for them, clean it up for them. It's faster. It's easier. That's where people make mistakes. That's lazy parenting.
They're not growing. Well, the kid's not.
Well, where people think that they're actually doing parenting. Oh, I'm taking care of my kids. That's lazy parenting.
You're not parenting. You're raising a dog.
Yeah, what's hard. That's a great way to put that.
That is great.
But what's hard is sitting there while you're trying to teach your kid how to tie their shoes or how to put their stuff or having that conversation and waiting 30 minutes so you can put some cars up.
Yep.
I'm a very impatient person.
Those 10 seconds that you took to ask him those questions impacted him so much more than handing your kid a tablet.
Absolutely.
For the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life.
Yep.
And just to reiterate, I'm appreciative of this because it brings that to another higher level in my mind, of constantly in my mind about the things we talk about on here and the conviction of practicing what you preach, you know?
And I'll speak on that too. So I've kind of put him in a mentorship role, a guy that I look up to a lot. His name's Ben. And he approached us after a few episodes. He goes, "Hey man, I just want to, you know, tell you that I appreciate what you guys are doing." He's got a little girl at home. And he said it just makes him, you know, he'll go through some motions. And I've told you guys this off the air, or whatever you want to call it. He goes through the motions, but he'll hear something that we've said, you know, or something I've said on one of the podcasts, and he'll sit there and just chuckle and be like, "Fucking Chris, man," you know. And he said he's living more, because I think he's 47, 48. I don't want to age him too much, but I think he's about the same age as my dad, so 47, 48. And his daughter is, I think his daughter's like 6, 7. Dude, what?
Your dad's 47 or 48?
No, your dad's in his 50s.
Shut
He's
up.
not.
Yeah.
My dad's 47, 48, 49.
How
How old are you?
31.
No.
Do the math.
That put him at 16.
Yep. I'm 31. My dad's like 49.
When did he
48,
have
49.
you?
18, 19.
Oh, wow. Okay.
17, 18, 19.
All
something like
right, copy
Yeah.
that. Carry on.
Young parents, okay? Jeez.
No judgment. I just,
Cameron's looking at it going, "Wait, I'm not your daddy."
I damn sure ain't your daddy.
How old did you just turn? Straight up?
29.
Yeah, there you go.
And a half.
Still don't have as many crow's feet. As
Dude, I had
do,
somebody. I held the door open for this meeting I had with YB Normal the other day. Held the door open at the restaurant we were at. This old disabled couple who was bitching about their. There's a whole nother Bible study. They were complaining about where their handicap parking was. Well, that's a heck of a handicap parking spot. I'm like, what else do you need? Damn, it's right by the door.
Front door.
Yeah, like, but I held the door. He's like, I just appreciate seeing a young man with a good haircut. And I was like, I just appreciate you think I'm young.
He was 80.
But with Ben, he was like, man, I just appreciate, you know, he'll do something, be like, man, fucking Chris, you know. But he says he lives more consciously and in the moment.
I love
Like,
that,
he's
dude.
more focused on what he's, you know, before he completes an entire action, he's living more consciously, especially around his daughter. And I was like, man, and you get that kind of stuff, you know, when we share feedback to each other, like that kind of stuff gives me goosebumps because these hour-long episodes that we do, you know, we meet every 2 weeks, we record, you know, for a couple hours or whatever. And then, but all we do, like, we're just talking. But what's cool is something that a vice president shared with the company I work for down in Dallas, shared with me. He said, man, if you want to be successful in this company, share what you know. You know? And that's all we're doing at this table. It's like we're not special humans. We're not up on a high horse like we've said over and over and over again in our episodes. We live a glass house mentality, and we're sharing what we know.
Absolutely.
But the cool thing is everyone at this table is in constant search for or constant personal growth. So we're constantly growing. So we always have more to share. And, you know, that glass house just, I mean, I don't know if you want to say it gets bigger or whatever, but it gets, shit, it's just stronger, really.
It gets
you know,
clearer.
Hell of
the glass gets clearer.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little foggy. You can see inside, and now it's like you can see all of it. Like, you know us. If you've listened to these podcasts and you continue to listen to these podcasts, you know us. And that's okay. And for us, it's a responsibility.
Well, the truth is, as this continues, like if I see JP, if I'm a listener right now, I will tell you one thing I know for sure about these other three guys at this table. If you see them out in public somewhere, they're going to be the same person there as they are as what you hear on here. And that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing, is because we believe how important that is. You know, this is not like some entertainment thing. This is living a life and then talking about that life, like you talked about. Striving to grow in that life every day, and then be that example. And first and foremost, and don't take this the wrong way, listener, first and foremost to our own family.
Absolutely.
Right?
This is part of our legacy we're leaving, you know? But and then just a short side note, something that's cool out of this was my aunt meeting you two for the first time, Wilson and JP, and going, "You guys are the guys from the podcast."
Oh, dude! Oh my gosh! Look! This is small town. This is small town kind of stuff. Yeah. But it was really, really cool to walk in there, and to your point, me and Wilson walked in there, and she was like, "Oh my God, you guys are rock stars! You guys are part of the Shepherds of Men." Like, I'm listening to your stuff. It's really awesome to meet you guys in person. And for a split second, and it wasn't an ego thing. It was like, that's freaking awesome. Yeah.
It is.
Like, because the more people know who we are, the more impact that we can make. And dude, I'm telling you, when you said that you've talked to people and they live more consciously now because of what we've said, like that's huge, man. You know, like that's a big deal. Like, if people start consciously thinking about decisions that they're making, and Cameron, you just said the same thing, and I'm the same way. When you said that, it's a great way to put it, because there's a lot of things that I do that maybe 10 episodes ago I might not have done.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
I've grown.
I guarantee 100% for me.
Yeah, we've all grown.
Yeah, and it's cool, and I love hearing that. And I want to share something, you know, and one of the guys that I work with. Respect a lot, good dude, kind of soft spoken and stuff like that. But he was talking to me. I talked to him about, you know, Shepherds of Men and stuff like that, and shared it with him. And this is just recently, and I was up in Canada, and he kind of told me to listen to the first couple episodes we had, and he was getting caught up to where we were at. And I asked him what he thought about it, and asked him about some feedback on it. And he literally pulled up his Amazon account and showed me the books that he ordered.
That's huge.
The coolest thing in the world, and I'm going to tell you guys how genuine our hearts are when it comes to that kind of stuff. That was more to me than anything. The fact that, like, O'Neill talking about people that he's talked to living more consciously. Cameron talking about people reaching out to him to sit down just to talk because they have some things they want to get straight in their life. You know, Wilson getting his chops busted by women left and right.
But I've had positive.
I know you have. I'm just messing. I'm just trying to break it up a little bit. But it was really cool to see him show me the list of books that he's bought. Dude, not only did he listen, but he took action on what we said. And what's cool is that takes the responsibility up another notch. Yep. When I heard that, I was like, you know what? Next time that I question, you don't have to. You read 2 books in the past month. Right. Do you really have to read again? Like you put a lot in. Yeah, you do. Yeah. You damn right you do, because there's a guy that just bought 5 books because he was listening to what you were saying. Yeah. You know, and that's cool.
And what you do speaks so loudly that what you say I can't hear.
Exactly.
I love that quote, dude.
And positive wise, because I'm all about focusing on positives. We've had several, and we share it all the time when we have a positive feedback. We have criticisms in a good, constructive way to where we can actually improve and get better, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for is like, dude, I didn't agree with this, or you could do this and make it better, or Chris, you need to or Wilson, you need to speak up, or whatever the case may be. Most cases we probably already know about it, but the cool thing is that we have made an impact, and just on that one that you were talking about with the guy who referred to, you know, I didn't know about this with putting my wife before my kids.
Oh yeah,
that was huge. The same person,
yeah.
And that was huge. And we've had I've had new fathers who are saying, "Man, I'm so appreciative that I have these podcasts to listen to because now I know how to become a man." Yeah. And that was like, what? You know, Evan, we actually sat down. He actually consulted with me for business because I do a lot of logistics. He wanted to learn more about that, a little bit about how he can incorporate what he does in insurance and what I do. And at the tail end of that meeting, I just asked him, I was like, I know you follow us and stuff, how you like and everything. And he goes, dude, it is awesome. I really appreciate all that you guys do, what you're doing. It's just refreshing to be able to listen to that every single day. And now being a new father, being able to have that direction and what to do and how to say stuff. And he's bought books on our recommendation. Yeah. The biggest thing he asks is, can I just get a list of these books? So that's the next thing. That's the next phase. But
and
it's
that's
really
a promise to everybody that's listening
Everybody.
that we will make sure that we get some books that we believe we vetted and read.
I was going to say that we have
Yes,
read.
we have
Know that we're not putting anything up there that we haven't read. We will not put anything up there that we haven't read ourselves.
Absolutely not.
And we're going to try to do it as if you're coming in as a brand new. I have never read a book since high school or college.
In a progression.
In that regard, to get it going, get that hunger going of wanting to continue to learn. I'm at a point where it's like, what other book can I read? I'm at that point to go. Right. I want to read another book, but I don't even know where to go. So there's so many books. But that positive, and then just other people. Like I had my best friend from Chattanooga. I didn't even know he was listening, and that goes to the listeners. We need to know you're listening. So if you're listening, you're getting something good out of it. Tell us, so that way we know that hey, it's coming through and it's actually working. And not for our own belief, because we do know that's just going to make it. But the fact that it is like the cool thing about with Evan, and I have a post that I want to post later on, is it's just knowing that the person is being impactful. So if you're out there, let's flip it. If you are us and you're making an impact and you're trying to do something better for the people around you, and you have a good following, dude, wouldn't you like to hear from them? Wouldn't you like to know that, hey, you're actually doing something good? And I would encourage you to pay it forward to somebody else out there that has impacted you, because that you never know, they could be in a dark place in life, because life is not easy for anybody. Okay, it's not a smooth sailing type of deal. So if that person, could love to have just a little bit of encouragement from from you, saying you have did this in my life. And I would encourage you this week, make a call to somebody who's impacted you like crazy, and appreciate and tell them, hey, you did this, and this is why it impacted me.
And I'm going to say, like, for us, like, we'd love to hear that too. Not because we need to have our ego fed, but because it just is important. It gives you fuel, It gives you fuel to read late at night when you don't feel like it, or to do whatever you need to do to grow yourself, and to understand that you're doing it not just for you, but for the benefit of your fellow man. And then on the other note, which we speak about a lot, especially when I'm hosting, I like to mention is, man, tell somebody else about it. If this is helping you, don't be selfish with it. Tell somebody else. Not because we need another follower. Listen, I mean, that's fantastic and that's cool and all, but the truth of the matter is our hearts really do want to impact people. And we understand that we can't reach everyone on our own. We need an army of people going, this is helping me. This is helping me be a better father. This is helping me have a better relationship with my wife or whatever. Like, tell somebody else. Like, pass it along, man. There might be something that they can benefit from as well. So
that's exactly what I was going to go into, was that, it goes back to what that VP told me, is share what you know. So, I mean, if this has impacted you in a way, man, it may impact someone else, man. Spread the word, it doesn't cost anything, like we said, we do it for free. So, if you think we can help somebody else, man, let them know.
Yeah. So absolutely. And I think at some point or another, we're gonna release some outtakes and some different stuff that we've done. Just lead up to it. Whether it's us getting right before we decide to record and stuff like that. Because ultimately, man, we're human just like everybody else. We make mistakes just like everybody else does. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this podcast without a title, without an outline, without anything like that, is because I really wanted you guys to hear the free spirits of all the guys sitting at this table and to really hear their heartbeat. Because ultimately, the reason that every one of these guys are sitting at this table, including myself, is because we truly have a heart for other people out there. And we truly believe that if we're going to make a change, we're going to make it through the men. And every one of us believe that wholeheartedly. So, just in closing, I think you guys have heard everything that you need to hear. I think we can share stories for hours. And we normally do, but I wanted to do it.
And we'll be talking after we sign off.
And we will be talking after we sign off, but I wanted to do it in front of the microphones for everybody that's listening. But thank you guys for tuning in. We genuinely appreciate everybody that's listening and everybody that's spreading the good word. We know that there's people that have been listening that have been talking to other people about it, because I've heard from people that I never said a word to about the podcast and stuff like that. So we're really excited to share what we know. And like these guys said, feedback is great. Either it's great feedback and it's good feedback about what we're doing right, or we learn. Those are the two options that we have there. If there's something that you would suggest, or if there's a question that you have, maybe there's something that you guys want to hear discussed. Maybe there's a problem that you have, or you have a question about something and you're like, man, could you guys do a podcast talking about this? It would be really cool, because we would really enjoy doing that. And like Cam said, we do not have the answers to everything. There are people that do, and we can point you in the right direction. But we do not have the answers to everything. But once again, you guys go out there, you kick ass like we always do every day. Make luck on your side because of the work and preparation that you put out there. You guys have been a part of the movement, and we look forward to talking to you again.